everybody. Welcome to the Good Witch Podcast, and we are here to talk about the latest episode of our favorite show on Hallmark Channel, The Good Witch. And I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and I'm here, and Amy is here.
Hey, guys.
Yes, and George is here.
Hi.
How are you all doing? Are you surviving quarantine?
Fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah, making it through. We're getting there. Yeah, it's a crazy time to be alive. But luckily we have Good Witch. It's so fun to and I don't know about you guys, but I loved this episode. I thought it was so fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is like peak Good Witch. I really enjoyed it. I don't know. What did you think, Georgia? What did you think of this episode overall?
No, I actually really enjoyed it. I thought from the title, the Chilli, I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? How is this going to be interesting? But that was the least interesting part of it. I loved that it was leaning more into the magic stuff, that they're kind of like almost saying it's magic instead of just intuition. I thought that Cassie was super fun. I thought that Sam was fun. I just loved it. It was fun.
Yeah. Amy, you agree?
Completely agree. It was so much fun, and I liked all the different aspects. There was more than one story, and there's a lot, like, I got more from this episode that I'm excited to watch the rest of the season.
Yeah, and I just feel like every character was great.
Mm-hmm.
Like in this there was no I don't know, nobody was driving me crazy or bothering me or anything. Everybody was really great, and so maybe it's just a chili cook-off that I need to make me happy. I didn't know that was such a win for me, but now I realize it is. And yeah, there was even some 35 millimeter dark room action going on here. I mean, I haven't seen that.
I was excited. I was like, my nerdy self, like,
yeah.
I was like, oh, George is.
Yeah, it's really exciting. So the episode starts off with Joy. She's had a bad dream that she sees a tunnel, a red light, and Cassie says, "Well, it's maybe kind of a Merriwick thing." Mm-hmm. So we see kind of Joy's journey here. It's interesting. Do you feel like they pretty much set her up as a protagonist, or do you still feel like there's those antagonist kind of? How you feel about Joy? What do you think, Georgia?
I mean, I'm getting some strong Vincent vibes just in terms of they're having her be related to Cassie, having her seem suspicious at first, like you can't trust her, and then from the looks of it, with next week's episode, she meets some guy, and if the actress is only on 4 episodes, I feel like it's going to be something where she's really important and then she's like gone. So I don't know. I don't really know what the purpose of her character will be. I like her more now. I mean, I couldn't really stand her last week, but I liked her this week. But I don't know where she's going.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of interesting. What do you think, Amy?
I agree. I'm like in between. I'm unsure, because the thing is too, when Abigail was first introduced way back in the movies, like she was supposed to be like the bad witch type person, and now obviously she's changed drastically since then. So I don't know if that's supposed to be like her character, and I also don't know like the whole family tree of the Merriwicks is confusing as it is, so I'm not sure where she falls into that, and maybe like how her powers might be impacted by that. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. That is true, Georgia, about her on IMDb. At least it's only saying 4 episodes, but oh man, I hope I hope that people really like her, and that we get to see. Obviously, that wouldn't affect this season, but kind of like what happened with Abigail and Sarah Powers. Kind of her becoming a bigger character, because I've really enjoyed her, and I got to interview Kat Barrel, who plays Joy, and I thought it was a really fun interview. She was really cute, and so that just posted this week, and so definitely if you haven't listened to that, you should check it out, because she's delightful. So there you go. So yes, we have the chili cook-off is kind of the one of the big themes of the episode, And we have George. He's cooking, and I just thought he was so funny. Just his whole like no fraternizing with the competition, with Cassie, because Cassie is going to be a judge, which is a pretty risky choice. But considering she basically lives with two of the contestants, that's because George lives at Grey House, right?
Yeah,
I hope so.
Right?
I think so. Right? And we still never were able to like fully figure out how many rooms are in Grey House. Remember we tried to do that last year?
I guess I could look up. I guess the actual house is like a famous house. I guess we could look up how many rooms are actually in the house that it's based off of. But
because a while last year you had Grace had a room, you had Abigail had a room, you had Cassie have a room, and if George lives there, so that's 4. I mean, there's no way this house has more than 6 bedrooms. That would be a lot, and especially for a house of that age, and so that would mean they only have 2 rooms.
Didn't Nick also need one last season? They got married.
But I think he got Abigail's room because Abigail moved into Sam's house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
So there's probably 2 rooms at Grey House that are rented.
Well,
at least last year, but now Grace is gone, so now they have 3.
They never have more than one one guest anyways, so
yeah, I guess.
Except whatever that was that time that Cassie was gone and Abigail was in charge of it. Remember, and there were those people, and where are they staying?
Yeah. I was just thinking about that because we had Corey Lee. When we had Corey Lee on, she was on that episode. She was one of the people that were of the business people. Anyway, that was a really fun interview also. She was like amazing doing all these quarantine crafts. So 2 different kinds of tie-dye. So she's killing it with quarantine. Much better than me. But yeah, so we have George. He's putting a lot of garlic in his chili. And so that seems to be his, and it's pretty spicy. What are your feelings on chili? Georgia, what would you think in chili cook-off?
I can't eat spicy food, so I just would stay away.
So you go the mild.
Absolutely. I mean, basically just none of the spice. Like, give me the flavor, I guess, but not the spice. And
would you put beans in your chili?
Yeah, I mean, we make soft tacos, so I guess it's like chili, but it's beans and like tomato sauce and stuff. I don't really know what makes it chili versus like something else.
I think you have to have chili powder.
Because we'll put like tiniest bit, but honestly, anything that's even noticeably spicy, I'm like, nope, stay away from it. So I don't know. I wouldn't be a good judge at all.
You wouldn't be good to replace Cassie.
No. No.
You know what I like in chili is just like a little bit of honey. Just to give it like just a little bit of sweetness. I think it tastes, especially if you do have something that's like, I can't handle super spicy either. I'm more of like a medium girl. But and I can't sleep. If I've had something very spicy, it'll affect, so I won't be able to sleep very well. And so I have like medium level, and then, but if you have like a little bit of sweetness, it just helps. I know, it's so yummy. It's really good. It's like the last thing that you add in. It's just a little. And my old roommate she would enter, her work had a chili cook-off, and she would make hers with bacon, which is, I've never heard before, but it was pretty good. She would usually win the chili cook-off.
Because everybody loves bacon. That's not necessarily correct, but yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Amy? What are your chili?
Not spicy either. Definitely need like a sweet or like something, like honey in it, I think would be good.
Yeah. Definitely
not spicy. Like whatever George was doing, I would probably have been like, nope.
Yeah. The best chili, it's really more of like a soup, but it's so good. There's actually a chicken chili recipe that Ina Garten has in her Breakfast Contessa Parties cookbook. Oh, it is the best. And you cook the chicken separate, and you roast it, and so it gets really yummy. And then you use lots of peppers and lots of onion, and it's the best. It could be one of my 7 recipes that if you listen to the On Friendship episode, I explained my theory that to be a good cook, people think you have to know how to do like all these things. That's false. You need to know 7 recipes to be an adequate cook. 7 recipes, and it helps if you learn a few things that you can use for lots of other recipes. Like, for instance, if you learn how to make burgers, then you can make an Italian burger, you can make a teriyaki burger, so you learn like one recipe and then you can use it for a bunch of different stuff. So like you learn how to make red sauce, then you've got like 15 different recipes. Boom, done. So that's my theory on cooking. People make it too complicated. But anyway, so yes, the chili was pretty fun, and you have Sam, who is also entering the chili cook-off, and I actually, because I was worried about Sam, but if they have him doing this kind of stuff, I'm fine. Like, I don't know, just scheming and being ridiculous and like, I don't know, this kind of plot, I think I'm fine with James Denton making chili, if that's what they decide to have him do.
It was nice to see him interacting with other people in the town.
Yeah.
Actually interacting with them. I mean, I do really like the medical stories when they have him do those.
Yeah.
But if it's going to be funny, this is the way to do it.
Yes.
Entertaining.
Yeah, it was. It was really entertaining. He's looking for the prized pepper, the things. And I mean, I guess Cassie wanted him to go on this journey because she doesn't know her own garden very well, because she could just tell him that they're literally in my garden, the peppers, right now. But it
would have been too easy.
Yeah. But he's looking for the secret ingredient, and you see here at this beginning that Joy, she has all these memories that are connecting with Cassie, even the fact that Cassie makes blueberry scones. She's like, oh, I make those same things with my mom. So it's they were laying it on pretty thick. It was pretty obvious that her mom was connected to Cassie in some way. And so what did we think of Martha and the Tinsdale toast?
Oh my goodness.
That was
like
hilarious.
That sounded so, like, honestly, it sounds so gross. Like, who is going to order that on the menu? Like, I wouldn't. And like, I don't know.
So the Tinsdale toast is a tuna melt with sauerkraut on it.
Why? That's so disgusting. That sounds so gross.
I mean, as if Stephanie and Adam don't have a besmirched sandwich reputation as it is. We have to give them this terrible toast. I was dying laughing. It was so funny. Oh, and it was such a great Martha moment. It was hilarious. Like, who came up with that? That sounds so gross. Like, I was thinking about it. I'm like, well, I mean, I do like a Reuben sandwich, which is pastrami with sauerkraut. Mm-hmm. But like, I just can't imagine tuna
with sauerkraut.
Ugh.
Is that a thing? Okay, I'm gonna look it up. If that's
Tinsdale toast,
a sandwich.
Would you try the Tinsdale toast, Georgia?
No, that just sounds disgusting. Like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'd try a bite of it just to be able to say for sure that it's disgusting. But like, I don't know how it couldn't be absolutely awful.
It's a thing. I just found like 25 recipes on how to make a tuna melt with sauerkraut.
Amy, don't make it real.
Ew.
Yeah. Ew. So, but it is hilarious. I loved that whole idea that she's so affronted and offended that Stephanie won't name this sandwich after her.
Like, what market is there for that sandwich? Like, does the town also eat that? Like, is that?
Well, I mean, I guess they sell the sandwich. They just don't have it named after her.
Or does Stephanie just also make tuna melts and sauerkraut for different things and then put them together for Martha?
It was so good. She did a great job with that. I was laughing. So I was a little bit confused. So Stephanie has a friend come in and I don't know if you felt this way, Georgia. I talked to Amy about it off air, that it was confusing. So there's this woman and her daughter named Presley, the daughter, and it felt like we were supposed to have known who they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was just like, who are these people? And they were, I don't know, just, it was like we missed a step of getting introduced to them. And so I that's why I texted Amy. I'm like, was she in it? Because heaven knows I cannot remember any. I mean, I do not have Cammie's gift for remembering every minor character in these shows. And I mean, I did not, we hadn't seen her before, right?
I have no, because I don't want to say I have no memory of her if she's been on there, but like it felt like that was supposed to be her sister and her niece or something. Like it felt like it felt really close.
Right. It felt like somebody that we were supposed to know.
Yeah.
So I was confused by that. I feel like maybe something got cut.
Yeah.
Or something.
Maybe a scene got cut or something.
Unless we really just don't remember, if it's going back to like season 1 or something, maybe.
Yeah.
Like maybe in the movies or something. Like I genuinely do not remember them.
Yeah, I think we need to ask Cammie. She's so good at remembering names. Oh my gosh. So yes, then we also see that Cassie and a clip from Joy's memories that they both are singing the same song. So
it was like kind of creepy.
It's a little creepy.
I liked it. I liked that it was like really diving in there with the like Cassie knows stuff. She doesn't just sense it like she knows, but it was like a little bit enjoyably creepy.
Well, it kind of reminded me of Entangled. You know, there's like the magic song to make her hair. I was like, maybe there's like a magic song in the Merrywicks that we haven't heard before. Yeah, I mean, that would probably come in handy a bunch of times.
I love it.
Yeah. And so Stephanie finds out that her friend, this girl Presley, that she's on the outs with her friend, and so she's trying to make it all okay, and then she starts to think back to her childhood with her friends. And so there's kind of that whole plot going on. And I don't know, it was just, that was a weird plot for me. I mean, it was fine, but I agree with you, Amy, that it was a little hard to know. Is her name Parsley or Presley?
Okay, when she said it first, I went out that whole episode thinking this kid's name was Parsley.
Yeah.
No.
The only way I knew is because it was
like
in the I had the closed captions on. And so I was like, oh, Presley. Okay, good.
I never literally thought she said parsley, and I'm like, I guess she's friends with a cook. Like, I don't know, maybe she really likes parsley. Her mom, I don't know. There's weird names out there these days. So like, okay.
Not on Good Witch.
I could see it on Good Witch. They're kind of, I don't know.
They have such typical names.
Well, besides Donovan, like, which is kind of out there, but other than that, like,
not as out there as parsley.
Which is not a name.
But I feel like they're giving Stephanie more to do aside from just go on dates this season. Do you feel that? They're giving her plots and evidently next week her ex-husband is coming.
I didn't even know she had an ex-husband.
I didn't know either.
It
sounds vaguely familiar, but
she might have mentioned it offhand.
Yeah. So I don't know. I kind of like that though, that they're making her into at least a solid B plot.
It was sort of like, I felt like she didn't even need Cassie. That was something that it feels like Stephanie could have handled that on her own. Like she knows that she's experienced this. I mean, that's so hard when it's some kid that you care about and they're having trouble with their friends and like, but she would know. She knows that she experienced that. So it didn't seem like she needed Cassie, but I'm fine if that's the only way that Cassie's offering help, is it's like, you know what to do, Stephanie, don't worry about it. And then Stephanie doesn't know what to do. But I feel like she wouldn't even have needed to panic about it. Like she had that.
Yeah. Like, we also get this sort of chain of a kind of ownership. I don't know what you call it. Because we start out with with Sam with the baseball bat signed by the pro.
Which is the producer's name, that Colin Brunton or whatever. It's
oh, it is?
Yeah.
That's funny.
At the bottom.
Yeah. And so he's got this bat, and then he goes to, he's trying to find a particular spice. He's trying to find these paradise peppers is what they're called. And he goes to Stephanie. She wants the Stevie Nicks tickets that Abigail has. And so
he goes to Martha, and then he has to go to Stephanie for the dang sandwich, right?
Yeah. And so he could get the spice from, am I missing a step? Or did he go to Abigail?
Sam to Martha, Martha to Stephanie, Stephanie to Abigail. Because
Martha has this evidently epic spice cabinet, which is hilarious. Like when they make Martha cook, it's so funny. Like, you remember when they had the pumpkin pie contest, and she was like sprinkling weird stuff and like, well, what is, like, this is not I've never seen anyone make a pie the way she made that pie. And but evidently, of course, Martha's the best cook in town. There's no doubt about that.
She's gone to Cassie's store though before, and Cassie's given her spices. And I'm like, who has this great spice collection? Then why does Cassie need to give her spices for things?
It's so great that she has literally, it's under lock and key.
Like, who locks up their spice cabinet?
Evidently it's Martha. She does.
Is she transferring that to the new house? Like, that's something I need to know.
Yeah, I feel like that's the only part of the whole thing with Joy that's still a little like, what is her plan with the house and with Martha? That's the part that's still like, what is she doing? Yeah, you know what I mean?
We didn't really go to the mansion this episode, so
yeah. I feel like, is she looking for some kind of treasure? Maybe?
Theory. Is there any way that her like line could have been from the lady who left?
Right.
That's what I'm thinking, is she's from her line, and so she's trying to find something
from Patience.
The mansion, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I could definitely see that because she's a second cousin.
Yeah, so maybe she's from the Merriwick lady, whose name I can never remember.
Yeah.
Who left the Donovan's ancestor guy. Maybe she's from that line, and that's why she's really curious about the mansion and wants to work in the mansion and stuff.
Yeah. I'd like to take a second from this episode of the podcast and thank our sponsor, where they're the good folks over at Sundance Now. And Sundance Now has an amazing lineup of shows that you can stream from them. They are really a really wonderful alternative to what we are getting a lot of the competitive dating shows, reality junk, singers behind masks. We need stories with thought behind them. And don't you want something that's good for your TV soul, Georgia? Do you agree?
Of course. I mean, you can only have so much junk TV before you need the meals, Yeah.
Yeah. Amy?
Completely agree.
Yeah. It's time to check out Sundance Now. Sundance Now is an ad-free streaming service created by AMC Networks for people who appreciate thought-provoking storytelling and fresh perspectives. If meaningful shows are your escape, then Sundance Now is the destination. Sundance Now offers the best of true crime stories, dramas, and thrillers from all over the world. Their original series, McMafia, State of the Union, and The Cry have received international praise and awards. You can stream Sundance Now on all your favorite devices. Just download the app or watch online and discover exclusive shows from around the world instantly. And right now, you can, and something that will really appeal to the Hallmarkies crowd at Sundance Now is they have an entire section of romances. So that's exciting. Yes. And including they have the latest version of Wuthering Heights, which is all kinds of drama and exciting. So you definitely will want to check that out. And it's available as low as $4.99 a month. That's an unbeatable price for award-winning content. So that's really low, $4.99. And so right now you can start your streaming obsession. Try Sundance Now for 30 days by going to sundancenow.com. Use promo code Hallmarkies. That's sundancenow.com, code Hallmarkies for 30 days of free streaming. sundancenow.com, code Hallmarkies. So Stephanie's evidently a huge Stevie Nicks fan. So she's really wants to go to this concert. And
I didn't even know he still toured.
It's a woman.
I'm sorry. I'm cutting that out. I am so cutting that out.
No, leave it.
No, I think that's hilarious. It's a band. She was in a band called
Freaky Friday.
She was in a band called Fleetwood Mac. That was very famous in the 70s.
Just added to
You've seen Freaky Friday when she's like, "Oh, you look like Stevie Nicks. Who's he?" And that's the joke. It's like, "Oh, Stevie Nicks is a woman."
She was really well known for like wearing a lot of like lace and like had a particular style of clothing. Stevie Nicks. I mean, she's still alive. I'm talking about like she's dead. She's still alive.
She's like really good friends with Harry Styles, right? Isn't that a thing?
I didn't know.
The other thing with Fleetwood Mac that's crazy is that it was 2 men, 2 women, and they were I'm not sure if they were actually married, but they were like it was 2 couples, right? Mm-hmm. They swapped partners. Like in the band, and they're still, I think, touring. If I'm not mistaken,
didn't they fire the Lindsey Buckingham or whatever? Wasn't that him?
I think they did fire one, but yeah, they swapped partners, which is crazy. Well, but anyway, I guarantee you've heard some of their songs. They're very famous. They're used all the time. Yeah. But just especially in movie trailers.
Just add her to the list of people that this podcast I had no idea. So we'll put her with Keanu Reeves and the guy from the Santa Claus movie.
Kurt
Russell.
You
didn't know who Keanu Reeves was? What?
No, I didn't remember.
Oh my gosh! No, you mean you're talking about Kirk Douglas or
Kurt Russell? You didn't remember?
Kurt Russell, yeah, Kurt Russell.
Which is like
Keanu Reeves.
Amy, I'm gonna have to leave right now. This is rough.
That was like a year ago, and like Lisa read me the riot act about not knowing who Keanu Reeves was, so we're good. She took care.
That had to hurt her. Oh man,
John Wick himself. That's funny. That's hilarious. But anyway, it's so they create this chain of he'll give up the bat in order to get the spice to get the name changed of the sandwich to I don't know. I got it all confused, but
the bag goes to Donovan, and then she gives the tickets, and then the sandwich, and yeah.
I mean, I think why not? Stephanie should just name a bunch of stuff after the. I'd love to get that menu.
Yeah.
I
was like the salmon cheese. I'd order that more than the Tinsdale on toast.
It was really good. But then there's also this plot with Martha's getting it from all angles because not only is she not getting the toast that she wants, but Tom comes in, her husband, and says you need to expand the bridge like you had promised that you were going to do, but you never did it. And so all of a sudden he's running against her for mayor, and that was hilarious. I loved that. I could have even used that longer. I mean, anytime that Martha's upset and irritated, I want it longer.
But from her husband, from anybody else, I was like, okay, fine. Somebody else wants to challenge this. Seriously, anybody. But her husband, the coffee beans, where he had like 5 times as many coffee beans in his little jar. It was sad. It made me feel bad.
Didn't he used to be the mayor?
Yes.
Him and then Cassie and then Martha, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So, okay, I don't.
So he didn't get it done, but Martha promised to him that she would get it done. But then evidently not everybody wants it done because it's a pretty bridge. And she has all this like nostalgia about it and look at all these great memories. So she doesn't want to widen the bridge. But she comes up with a creative solution in the end and they're able to annex someone's property or whatever, and it all works out. So, but I thought that was so funny. And whenever she sees the Tom Tinsdale signs for mayor, I just laughed. I enjoyed that.
You don't do that to your wife. You just don't. That was crossing the line, man. That was too far.
I had to laugh at the supposed time capsule. Like, could they have like been like, it's not even that it wasn't buried very deep. Mm-hmm. It was like in like the kind of soil that you buy at like Home Depot when you're just starting your garden. Like the idea that had been there for like
10 years or something.
Yeah.
No.
Right. I mean, come on. That made me laugh. Give me a break. It's just like covered up by a teeny bit of like topsoil, that you get from Home Depot. It made me laugh. And but of course Joy is very excited about finding this.
But like that was not cool of her to open it. Honestly,
Yeah.
I know that was the whole plan, but for her, that's Grace's box with her dad, and you go, Dad's not here anymore. Grace is away at college, and you open it. Like, what's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's supposedly it has a roll of film, which. Yeah, I mean, this some youngins like you, Amy, might not be aware of 35 millimeter film back in the day. You didn't have...
I was born in 97. We didn't have digital cameras yet, okay?
Back in the day, you had to develop your film. There was this thing called the dark room.
I recall.
The idea that, I mean, it is so ridiculous. The idea that George like has this dark room set up, like what?
Why?
Because nobody develops their own film. I mean, nobody. Like even people that are like super artistic, and I mean, it's just completely forgotten. I know my dad and my brother are both photographers, and I mean, it is a dead art of developing your own.
The only people I know who develop film are people who are photography students, and then they never do it again after that.
I mean, it is the likelihood that he would be doing that and would have all of the supplies and stuff. That made me laugh, but I love it. It was great. And so, yeah, we get this unexpected scene where they're all down in the dark room, like holding up the pictures. There's one that can't develop. And and supposedly, I guess, this roll of film wasn't part of the time capsule, that it was part of, that it was left there by Cassie's mom. That because they were like, why is this in the time capsule, and why don't you, she's like, oh, that was used for that before and it just got left in. And I was like, oh, okay. But that is one thing that is so different now, not only developing film, but just the fact that we used to have to wait so long to get pictures back. That's so different, because now you take a picture and, the kids are, I want to see. And back in the day, you would take a whole roll of pictures and then you'd send it in, maybe 1 hour photo and then you get it back and then you find out, oh crap, my finger was in front of the thing, or there was some, and then the whole roll would be, at least because now you can look at it and be like, oh, I got to retake that, click. And it's so much better now.
But you wouldn't take 500 pictures of the same thing just to get the perfect one. I like it better. I like it better when we find, packages of pictures that we have than ones on our phone, personally.
Yeah, I mean, that's also true, that I never get photos printed anymore. I mean, the only reason I get photos printed is if I'm going to frame it for something. Never ever anymore. I mean, the only one I can think was I went and got my passport photo. That's the last time I went to a photo center in Walgreens. Right. But it's kind of funny. Just for the heck of it, I was like, I'm going to renew my passport or whatever in like February. I still haven't gotten it back yet, which is funny. I'm going to be able to use that a lot with all this.
Whenever you find a roll of film now, like we found a bunch. My grandma passed away recently, so we found a bunch.
Yeah.
Going through some of her stuff, and it was like murder trying to find a place that would even develop it for us. Because I'm like, oh, we used to go to Costco when I was a child and get Costco always did it. Costco doesn't do it anymore. I went to Walgreens. I went everywhere. Finally, I found a CVS like an hour away from me that would do it.
I mean, maybe it's not that hard to believe that George has a dark room these days. Maybe it's so hard to get it developed. that he's like, well, gotta. And there's one picture that's very unclear, and they can't make out. And so that's all the excitement going on, but it's some kind of family thing with Cassie as a young girl. She also takes a picture of the Merrick family tree that's in the time capsule. And so, yeah, there's definitely stuff going on there. And Sam's still looking for his paradise pepper. And then Stephanie is trying to help Presley with her friend, talks to her about when her friend wasn't being very nice. And then one day they made up and everything was good. So there was that. And and then Cassie kind of helps Martha. I did love that scene between Martha and Cassie when Martha was just like, what am I going to do? And she's freaking out. I always love a good Martha to Cassie freak out. That's always a good dynamic. And so Presley makes up with her friend, and then Sam finds out that Cassie's growing the paradise peppers. And again, information that might have been helpful
a while ago. Like,
yeah. But we also have Adam trying to make chili.
And he mixes up salt and sugar.
Yes. So he's terrible at making chili. We know that now.
You're with a lady who owns a bistro, okay? Like, you can't tell two things. Okay.
Can we just skip over Adam?
So he's
how
he didn't seem to get much benefit from the fact he was cooking in the commercial kitchen or anything like that. He was still very much struggling to read labels on.
Yeah, I'm like, does Stephanie label anything?
His eyes hurt from the garlic. I just no.
Your eyes? What?
That's what he said. He literally said it, and I'm like, no, Adam, how?
What did he do? Rub the garlic in his eyes? Like,
garlic doesn't do that. It's not onions. Exactly. Onions are the things that make you cry.
You'd have to physically be cutting the onion or the garlic, have it on your fingers, and then put it on your face to make it hurt your eyes.
But I don't think even then it does. Maybe I'm wrong.
If you get garlic in your eyes, it hurts.
It does? See, I didn't even know that. Because it's not a pepper. It's not a hot pepper.
But I think if you get physically anything in your eye, it hurts.
Yeah, that's true. Who knows? Poor Adam. So yes, and basically you also have this continuing on between Abigail and Donovan. They get in this fight about keeping secrets, and Donovan says, well, there's certain things I haven't told you, but it's not because they're secrets. I don't know. What do you rolled your eyes, Amy? What do you think about this?
I just thought it was I'm like, obviously you don't know everything about him. My parents have been together for 30 years, and there's sometimes my dad will say something and my mom will be like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because when you get together with someone, you don't sit down and rehash the past, 25 years of your life that you didn't know that person. Like,
it's true. I mean, it kind of makes me think of in When Calls the Heart this season that Rosemary finds out that Leland has a sister, and she's kind of hurt. Like, how could you not tell me this? And so that was handled. Yeah, that they'd been married for a long time. This is just a couple that's just started dating.
Yeah, and I think if Donovan had been in jail, you would have known because he's the mayor.
But I mean, see, we're skipping over a big part of the story because we've not mentioned that her dad didn't tell his soon-to-be fiance that he'd been in prison. So, hello, Abigail has trust issues. I'm going to get a little defensive. It was a fair thing for her to worry about. Like, is there stuff that you haven't told me that you should have told me?
Yeah.
But for him to have to apologize to her, I think was kind of ridiculous. He didn't owe her an apology.
Yeah.
He didn't actually do anything. She freaked out. He understood. They were both not necessarily right, but nobody was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, that's a thing that happens, and now you're fine. He didn't need to apologize because he wasn't hiding anything from her. But like, she sort of had a right to freak out because her dad's a big liar.
Yeah. I still don't trust his dad, especially because that actor's always a murderer.
Oh no!
In the mystery shows, I swear.
I've never seen him in any of them.
Yeah, he's been a murderer a bunch of times. And so I don't trust him. But I think we're supposed to. So, but yeah, he's dating this woman named Josie, and she seemed really sweet and nice. They're staying at Grey House, and they go to this dinner. They have this dinner, and yeah, Abigail basically lets it out of the bag that her dad had been in prison, and so Josie's very upset about that. All that drama. And yeah, he should have told her. I mean, ridiculous. Like that kind of, I get his idea about the prejudice, but what's the alternative? You know, like what, you get married and like, surprise, I was in prison for like a long time. I guess it would be one thing if it was, I don't know, just nominal, like 2 weeks or something like that. But he was in prison for multiple years. You need to tell. You need to tell.
Severely damages. What?
Big things you should tell someone, like, hey, I've been in jail, I have a kid, like, I've been married before. It's not like, oh, I don't like cheese.
Which would be a huge problem anyway. Let's be real. If you don't like cheese, like, not you.
I know. I mean, I'd have my doubts. But the thing is that also it just makes him look all the less trustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's held it. Now it makes him look like he's gonna be a total crook.
Yeah.
So
I got mad at Abigail for even saying it, and I'm like, how you didn't tell her not to say it?
Right.
Like that's not fair at all.
Yeah. If you didn't, yeah, that's right. If you didn't want to know, you need to lay the ground rules of the dinner beforehand.
Kind of a big topic.
Yeah. Yeah. And because I hated him last year, he was the worst. And the way that the show tried to absolve him of what he did, I was not a fan of that at all. So hopefully we don't see him anymore.
Right. It's like it's just kind of like too much damage has been done. Let's just, okay, she has a dad. He goes off, be happy. That's it. We don't need to see him. No offense.
Yeah. I mean, so Abigail ends up going back for the cornbread, and then she sees her dad, and her dad is there. And, you know, he says people make mistakes. And he apologizes, asks Abigail for her blessing. Then Josie hears, and then he ends up proposing. And so there we go. And so then Tom is still very upset. He's to Cassie, he says, if I could just get through to her about the bridge. And so she sends them both on this like little detour or whatever. And Martha finds the way out of it with the other farmer, and he drops out and everything's great. And so then they have the chili cook-off and taste test or whatever. So Cassie's tasting them all. It did seem like she lingered quite a bit with Sam's chili. So I'm like, but George ends up winning, which was so fun. I loved that. That was great.
But he won because Joy can't mind her own business. You know, fine, it was nice that she was helping, but she should have said something to him. I would personally be really mad if somebody went and changed my recipe and then that's why it won, because I'd be like, I didn't come up with that. But George is nice.
Yeah. Did Joy, what did she put in? What did she add? She had the peppers in?
She added something sweet.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Was it squash?
It was sweet potato
rice
or something. Yeah.
Well, George won, and so then Cassie ends up getting Sam's bat back from the whole exchange that happened going on. I don't know if Stephanie's going to Stevie Nicks or not. That wasn't clarified.
How did that happen? She got it back from like Abigail.
I mean, really, they should make a girls' night out of it. Abigail, Stephanie, going to see Stevie Nicks. That's the perfect solution.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That would be perfect.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then we find out that Joy had a dream about the dark room, and the picture finally develops once Cassie goes down there, and it turns out that her mom is Cassie's second cousin, Julia. I
thought it was Cassie's mom's second cousin.
Thought she said it was her second.
Oh,
wait,
okay.
Let me see.
I had written down that it was her second cousin, but I could be wrong.
That's what I wrote down, but yeah.
I thought the picture though was of Cassie's mom and her mom.
I thought it was like little Cassie and then her
And-
second.
Well, so
I'm
sorry.
I thought the picture was of Cassie's mom and Joy's mom together. That's what I thought she had said, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think you're right.
All I have written is that it was Joy's mom is Cassie's second cousin. So I don't know if that.
Yeah, that's what I'd written down too.
Okay,
Yeah.
then maybe
I don't know.
Maybe I.
This is developed with Cassie and her second cousin Julia. But so people that want us to take better notes, I'm sorry, I tried. So let us.
We took different notes.
Let us know what you found. But nevertheless, they're related. That's the important part.
Yes,
that's the important part. And she is a Merrywick, and she has Merrywick in her blood, so we know that. And so that's going to lead into next week, where we get more into the house and her being all Merrywickian. So it's very exciting. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought pretty much every little plot point worked. I thought and almost everything was either funny or sweet, or it's just exactly what we want from Good Witch. I liked the chili cook-off. I liked the Martha and Tom stuff. That was great. I liked George getting involved, the developing the film. It was just really fun. I had a great time watching this, and so yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of the strongest episodes we've had in quite a while. So yay! So yeah, do you have any other final thoughts? What about you, Amy?
There was one thing missing. There was no Nick, and I'm gonna
Right.
bring that up every episode he's not in. So look forward to that.
Plan on bringing it up every episode.
Bring it up every time.
Georgia, any final thoughts?
Maybe two, because I feel like then I should say something about Vincent every episode, but I'm not going to, because we might have to move on from things. But
Vincent would have made good chili. Let's be honest.
Oh, he would have had some like nice recipe that he picked up somewhere that nobody else. I can't think about that.
Yeah.
But I wanted to know, didn't they have in the Halloween special movie thing? Tom and Martha were supposed to have their vow renewal, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, didn't he reproposed, right? So like, why are they going against?
Oh, you're right.
And stuff. I thought that was going to be the storyline, and I thought, okay, last week we're setting stuff up, whatever. Sort of thought they'd get into it this week, but now she's just buying a house and making chili, and I want to see the vow renewal. So I'm really going to be sad if they do not come through on that. It's going to be a bummer.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point. So yeah, hopefully we'll get some of that. So there we go. Let us know what your thoughts are about this episode of The Good Witch, and in the comment section or on Twitter. We'd love to talk about it. And Amy, where can people find you?
You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at It's Amy Craig.
Great. And Georgia?
I am on Twitter at Georgia Speech.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. And make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and if you're listening on iTunes, please leave us your ratings and reviews. And if you are listening on and watching on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. And we really want some feedback from you guys. If you are enjoying, we're trying to do more video content. And so if you're enjoying the video content, we'd sure like to hear your feedback from that. So please let us know. And so thanks so much, everybody. And make sure you check out that interview with Cat Barrel. And we have all of our content for Good Witch all in a playlist that we have in the description. So if you missed anything, you can check it out. So thanks so much, and we'll talk to y'all later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.